of Warships. World of Warships. Soviet aircraft carriers. Yeah, I want to highlight the fact that September 4th, 2020, skip bombers being added. Now you might wonder why they would add a new mechanic to a class they still can't balance. But then you remember that skip bombers were often used by aviation of the Soviet Northern Fleet in combination with torpedo bombers. aka prepare yourself. Soviet CVs are most certainly going to be using this. I retweeted that a couple days ago because I called it, well, almost a year ago. 9 months ago or so. I predicted that as soon as skip bombers are coming, they will be adding Soviet ships and they will be using it on Soviet ships as well. According to Wargaming, they were planned to be released much earlier. That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. They probably just struggled to put it out somehow because skip bombers, they had huge issues balancing it, and they temporarily put it on. Like as soon as they released the German CV line, I already knew that they wanted to release a whole fantasy line to better justify Emergency Octopus. Thank you for the 5. They added that. Chaos D, thank you for 47 as well. They added I'm pretty sure they added the entire goddamn German CV line just so they could go, hey, don't criticize the Soviet CV line. There's another fantasy line out there. I'm pretty sure that's the reason they did it. Let's see. Soviet aircraft carriers. Komsomolets, Serov, Pobeda. Pobeda. That was Slava's old name. Jesus, we thought we were rid of Pobeda and they just gave it back. Yeah, exactly what everyone was asking for. More planes. There's Ed, thank you for the 22 as well. Yeah, it's really weird. I still haven't found that silent majority that Wargaming keeps quoting that actually wants more planes. Everyone I speak to is like, we are so done with all these planes, but Wargaming are like, no. The community wants planes. We can add a bit of background for chat to make it easier to read. Admiral Nakimov and Chkalov. See, 3 fucking consonants. Chklavov. Okay. Have been added to the game for testing. Please note that all information in the development blog is preliminary. Announced adjustments and features may change multiple times during testing. The final information will be published on our game's website. Couldn't do it without including a premium? Oh yeah, what this is 4, 8... No, wait. 4, 6, 8, 10 premium? The classic. Classic. The following researchable Soviet aircraft carriers will be added to the game in the upcoming closed session. Komsomolets is tier 4, Serov tier 6, Pobeda tier 8, Admiral Nakimov tier 10. That's Langley. Wait, what? That's a goddamn Langley. Right? That's totally a Langley. Am I missing something? It's like a poor man's Soviet Langley. Interesting. To be fair, Langley was a CVE, wasn't it? So, same concept. Basically, like a Liberty ship or something being used as the hull, and then they just slap a flight deck on top of it. Interesting. Serov. Dude, like the level of fantasy involved in a nation that literally couldn't build proper battleships or cruisers at the time, to be fucking putting in this kind of like this is such a Stalin fantasy. Holy moly. Like, they already didn't have much of a navy, and now they apparently had the most powerful planes, powerful ships as well. Good lord. Interesting. Yikes. This must be some secret plans as well. What are those guns? What are those guns? Interesting. Are these the same? Probably the same, yeah. Pobeda. Interesting. That looks like a lot of thick plating, by the way. I can see the armor plate sticking out here. You see that? That looks like a lot of plating. That's a Vladivostok converted Kronstadt hull. Jesus. What is this thing here? Is this some sort? Is there some sort of elevator system? Interesting. What's that picture? Okay. Can we know the project numbers that are associated with these ships? Tier 4 carrier Komsomlet is the same name training ship reconstruction project. Xerov is one of the possible variants of the Project 68 cruiser reconstruction. Tier 8 carrier Pobeda is a Project 69 cruiser reconstruction variant. Tier 10 carrier Admiral Nakimov is a variant of Project 23 battleship reconstruction. Like, wait. Project... Wait, Project... Wait, Project 23 battleships, Sovietsky Soyuz. So this is a fantasy blueprint derived from another fantasy ship that was... But it was like never brought into service. So it's a fantasy of a fantasy. And they already made this long ass video about Naval Legend Sovietsky Soyuz where they were like, haha, we can compete with the Iowa and we can compete with the Yamato. And it was like never fucking put into service. It was, yeah, it was, this hull was cancelled and scrapped. And this is a fantasy based off of that fantasy. Jesus. Interesting. Are those Smolensk? Is that a Smolensk gun? That looks like a Smolensk turret, doesn't it? That looks like a Smolensk turret. It has 6 of them. Wait, really? Oh yeah, 1, 2, 3. Oh shit. It has 6 Smolensk turrets. And what the it looks so Cold War. It looks so Cold War. It has an angled deck. Oh yeah, you're right, it does. What the hell? These are old Cold War designs. Oh, I'm not surprised. Jesus. Okay. Key features of the Soviet aircraft carriers. Each squadron consists of only 1 attacking flight. Only 1, okay? Soviet aircraft carriers have a small number of aircraft in their squadrons, reaching up to 8 planes at Tier 10. Beginning at Tier 8, planes are equipped with rocket boosters. Beginning at Tier 8, planes are equipped with rocket boosters. Similar to Ise and Tone, rocket boosters are automatically activated during takeoff and give a short-term increase in speed. Oh boy. All planes have a small amount of HP and a low cruise speed. The repair squadron consumable is available to Pobеda's torpedo bombers and to all of Admiral Nakimov's squadrons. All. Okay. All. Fair enough. Torpedoes carried by torpedo bombers have a long range and long arming time. Does it mean that you want to be dropping them outside of AA range? Like the old Hakuryu that they nerfed because it was so broken? Because I remember when Hakuryu could drop outside of AA, and people were farming 500k damage with that shit. And they needed to nerf that shit. Is that what we're seeing again? They go 35 knots. You're not gonna hit shit with that. You're not gonna hit shit with that. Interesting. Attack aircraft on tiers 8 and 10 are armed with HE rockets, the equivalent of the US Tiny Tims. Okay. But with poor torpedoes and poor rockets, or well, not poor rockets, US Tiny Tims are really good against cruisers and BBs, but they're not gonna do too much about DDs, but I feel like they might be dumpstering other shit. Camjam, thank you for the 16. At Tier 4, Komsomolets has standard aircraft types. Starting from Tier 6, Soviet aircraft carriers carry skip bombers with HE bombs instead of standard dive bombers. I fucking called it. I fucking called it. Oh my god, I called that so right on the money. Holy shit, I called that so right on the money. Oh god, I know this company far too well. Good lord. It's still kind of baffling though that this the repair squadron consumable is available to all Admiral Nakimov's squadrons. Like in World of Warships, it's still easier for the pilot to take out the hammer and a nail and patch up his plane than it is for a crew member to go downstairs and bring out the new AA machine gun that broke. It's still easier for the planes to repair themselves than for AA to repair itself. Which makes no goddamn sense to this day. Like even in the most arcadey of arcade games, it makes no goddamn sense. Good ship concealment. Okay. The concept of the branch. One squadron, one attack. Wasn't this what they wanted to move away from when they moved away from RTS though? That instead of these big alpha strikes, more like multiple, drawing out the damage over a longer time. That was one of the reasons why they wanted to move away from RTS, because in old RTS you struck everything at once and that was it, and people didn't like it. So they wanted to move away from it. And the whole concept of AA, like continuous damage and flak and all of this, the whole concept of AA right now is to mitigate multiple attacks. AA doesn't work against the first attack ever. It doesn't work against a single attack. The whole point of the AA design that Wargaming added was to prevent continuous attacks. You have continuous DPS to deal with continuous attacks because it doesn't stop the first strike. The whole idea is the planes have to stick around in your AA, and then you can prevent strike number 3, 4 or whatever. So this whole concept goes against everything that AA is designed for in World of Warships right now, and it goes against their claims of wanting to move away from this when moving away from RTS. What the fuck? That's like, design wise, this is really opposite land of what I wanted. To play effectively, squadrons will need to make a lot of brief flights at short to medium range due to their low cruise speed. This is helped by the good concealment of the ships and the presence of rocket boosters on the planes. That concept is interesting. I actually like the concept of making the plane slower and giving the carrier stealth and forcing it to actually like take part of, like forcing the CV to actually pay some attention to positioning. Because one of the main issues with CVs right now is you don't need to give a single fuck about any sort of positioning. You just sit stationary in spawn, or most CVs just reverse to the border. They don't even move. But actually forcing them to position closer to the enemy in order to be effective can be interesting. Can be interesting. The stealth part is a lie though. The tier 10 is 700 meter better concealment than midway. What's midway's conceal? You gotta remember, if these are unpopular, you gotta remember guys, that CVs in World of Warships are not balanced based on game balance. They're balanced based on popularity. So you gotta remember, if these ships are unpopular, they will be buffed like crazy. Keep that in mind. Squadrons are vulnerable to AA due to their low HP, and each lost plane reduces the total damage can be dealt by the enemy. Okay, the new ships, skip bombers and torpedo bombers can use their long range to avoid staying too long in the enemy AA zone. However, in this case, it will be easier for the enemy ships to evade attack. This will put a lot more emphasis on long range AA. So, basically, Soviet ships that have long range AA are gonna be much better against this. Long range are gonna be really good, mid range is gonna be pretty good, short range is gonna be junk. Because they won't have time to like do much to prevent any strike. Any ships with long range, so Royal Navy, just light cruisers in general, but no one plays light cruisers anymore. Like no one plays light cruisers at all. So Germans and Italians are gonna be the most screwed. and IGN was always screwed because they don't have any AA. So I guess basically fuck Axis. Funny coincidence that. Funny coincidence that. Oh yeah, the Dutch cruisers. They have long range and insane mid-range DPS. So the new gimmick is gonna be really good against this gimmick. Interesting. Russian forget they were part of Axis. Shh, they don't like when you bring that up. They don't like when you bring that up. Ribbentrop? Who's that? Never heard of him. Soviet carrier Chkalov, Tier 8. A fast-moving large aircraft carrier based on Project 71B of the late 1930s. What the shit is this? This is a 1930s design? My god, the Soviets were advanced at ship design. Holy shit. Project 71B. Who the fuck's Project 71B? There we go. Project 71B is small aircraft carrier design cancelled 1940. It doesn't even have a wiki page. Interesting. The Chkalov is armed with aviation similar to the researchable Soviet Tier 10 aircraft carrier Admiral Nakhimov. Each squadron consists of only 6 planes. The ship is also distinguished from other Soviet aircraft carriers by its available selection of squadrons, torpedo bombers, skip bombers, and dive bombers. The Chkalov is best used for dealing damage to low mobility targets and supporting allies in the fight for key areas. Supporting allies in the fight for key areas. Okay, that's a really good thing to be. Comsomlets. Plating 16. Its maximum speed is slow as shit. So this is very much Langley-ish. Attack aircraft. Number of aircraft on deck. So you have 4 squadrons. Cruising speed 126. Armored footmen more than enough for the tier. Her planes are low HP, but they get built with full build in almost 48 seconds. Interesting. Torpedo bombers. What's the health on this thing? Hit points 830. That's not a whole, but no one has AA at tier 4. No one has AA at tier 4 though. Very honorable. Thanks for the 31. Cruising speed 87. Aircraft restoration has to do detectable range. Torpedoes in payload 1. 4k damage. 41 knots of speed. Range 6 km. I guess you'll be flying around slapping dreadnoughts with these things, but still, that's slow. Planes are slow. Torps are slow. 6 km range though. Is that? Oh, that's the 71. Project 1's light cruiser carrier. Okay. Dr. Vo, thank you for that. The war froze the plans. 6 were planned, but none were ever realized. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Dive bombers. Oh, this thing is dive bomber still. 92 knots. Tank and flight 4. I mean, the planes are slow, but at tier 4, everything is slow and the map is really, really small. What's the concealment on this thing? Surface detect 8.8. Holy shit. What the hell? That thing is stealthy. I didn't even look at Comsomlet's stealth. And you get what? You get concealment expert and camo on top. So you end up at 7.7 km concealment. 7.7 km concealment on a tier 4? What the sh... Hetero Korg, think 59. Aren't you gonna be outspotting everything? CVs don't have concealment expert. Ah, you don't. Oh yeah, it nerfed it, didn't it? You had. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You can't spec concealment anymore because it fucks you. Yeah, actually, concealment expert is better, but it fucks you. You're right. It's better. I think it's better than normal concealment expert, but it fucks you. Is this thing? Yeah, hidden menace. Yeah, it's actually minus 15, but minus 50% on speed of returning air squadrons. How big of a problem is that for these though? It might be too big because their planes are already so slow. So yeah, you can get, but you can get 7.3 conceal because it's 15. But I think it's going to be too much of a sacrifice because 50% on planes that are really slow. So you, yeah, doubtful. And the concealment module is also in the wrong slot. Well, not in the wrong slot, but mostly it's the best for everyone else. It's best for everyone else, but Faster aircraft restoration, more deck places. Yeah. Yeah, the problem is carriers have the concealment expert isn't nearly as good, and I could see them not wanting to get the module either. So you're not gonna build stealth on the CB to begin with. So you're more likely your effective concealment is gonna be 8.5, which isn't bad. It isn't bad, but I mean, for most ships would love to have 8.5 can conceal, but you can't really build it too much more. There's no 5th slot in tier 4, of course not, but it's worth noting for the higher tiers. Serov 39.5, 19mm plating, AA defense, 5.8 km range, 4 flak for tier 6, that's pretty nice, with 100% accuracy as well. Maximum speed 35.5. Holy shit, that thing is fast. What the fuck, that thing is fast for a tier 6 CB. Whoa, that's gonna outrun... Who's gonna catch up to that? DDs? That's pretty much it. Who else is gonna catch up to that thing? That thing does... Wait, does that thing really do 38.3 with speed flag? No, speed flag is not 8%, it's 5%. My bad. It does 37.3. 37.3. 37.3 knots. Jesus. It's gonna outrun most cruisers. Good lord. So what is the kiting CV? It's okay, Flamu, it's a CV. People won't position with them at all. That's true, luckily. Most people won't position for shit, but still, goddamn. Surface detect 12.3. Once again, you're not going to be building much of the stealth. Yeah, that's not going to leave you too much. The thing is, what's really interesting about some of this, like, for example, this guy. The plane spotting. Look at this. Detectability on the plane is 10 kilometers. Detectability of the ship is 8.5. So if you're sailing 9 km away from this carrier, you can see the planes the second they take off. They're going to render. The planes are going to pop out of nowhere the second they take off, but you're not going to see that carrier itself. That's going to be interesting. Damage control fighter, 149 not attack aircraft, number of aircraft on deck 12, 6 rockets in payload 4. That's a lot of rockets, isn't it? 26mm pen, enough for the BBs at the tier, enough for tier 7 BBs in fact. So much slower torpedo bombers. Aircraft restoration is very fast now. Torpedoes in payload 1. Really shit torpedo damage again. I think the torpedoes are going to be quite hard to use. So wait, you're going to be dropping 6 of them, though, right? 6 aircraft, torpedoes in payload 1. Yeah, so it's 6 torps you're going to be dropping that do... I mean, if you manage to, the problem is the slow-ass BBs at the tier, or if someone is reversing or something, you can probably do a fair bit of damage. It's not that slow for aerial torpedoes. Yeah, the problem is the arming distance, but it's 800 meters. That's not really too bad. I think people are going to be slapping with this. The arming distance really is the biggest issue. But even then, if you're dropping a BB, the BB is going to struggle to dodge this. Depends on the spread. We really need to see the spread. If it's something like a Kuryu spread, like a bullshit 2 torpedoes basically on top of each other that you can't dodge for shit, then that's going to be really rough. Spread needs to be seen. Spread needs to be seen. Hit points 1 man, cruising speed 112, 6 planes, 7 aircraft restoration time, bombs in payload 1, 6.1k alpha, 32mm pen, big fire chance, 2 skips. So what, you're dropping 6 skips, 6 bombs again? You're dropping 6 bombs. Interesting. .2k Soviet carrier beta, 55.2k health. That's a fair bit of health. Plating 19, maximum HE shell. AA defense 315. 6 km AA, 6 flak, 100% accuracy on the AA. Damn. CVs sure get good AA. Wonder why no one else gets a good AA. Maximum speed 33.5. That's also point fast. Handles really poorly though. Well, rudder shift still good than the American BBs. But turning circle is gigantic. Surface detectability 13.8, but the issue is once again, no one. It could be built for good, but no one is going to build it for good, probably. Hit points 1,000. 1,000 hit points at tier 8. That starts to be pretty fucking squishy. At tier 8, that starts to be some pretty goddamn squishy planes. Cruising speed 161. These things are fast though. It's per plane, yeah, exactly. Each plane has 1,000. 6 aircraft per squadron. 4 rockets in payload 4, so 24 rockets. 3.5. Armor pen 40. Interesting. 17% fire chance. That's a lot of. That's depends on the spread on these rockets, but like these rockets can slap pretty hard. Because that's a lot of pen, good fire chance, good alpha, and there's a lot of them. They're gonna smash pretty hard, I think. It's 84k potential alpha. Yeah, in actuality, we're looking at probably less than a third of that, but still, that's a lot of damage on them. You're gonna struggle because with the rocket. I think because of they wanted to add these rockets, they did the rocket changes. Because you're gonna struggle to use this on DDs with the new rockets, but against BBs and cruisers and shit, these things are gonna slap. The health though, the health is really the big downside. If you hit flak, you're basically gonna lose your entire squadron. But the big issue, like, Wargaming's AA isn't designed to defend against the first strike. That's really the problem. Like, did you know that when a plane enters your AA starts reloading their guns? Because apparently your ship that is in a combat zone doesn't have its AA reloaded. But it needs to reload the guns first, and then it starts shooting. So if you go through it fast, most of the time you don't even throw up any flak on the first strike because it's still reloading the AA. So that applies to all ships. They reload their AA once the planes enter the AA range. So that's why you often see a squadron enter. If your range is 6 km, it enters, and then when the plane is at like under 5 km, your AA actually starts shooting. That's the most smooth brain idea I've ever heard. Yeah, that's wargaming. And there's nothing you can do to make them reload the guns. Like, shoot your own guns, be shot at, like, hey crew, we're in a combat zone, spot planes. No, your crew ignores them, but only when the planes enter your AA area, then your crew starts reloading the guns. So, it's wargaming. Torpedo bombers, 6 torpedoes once again, 5.4k alpha, 35 knots. You run the speed on that, I would assume. 6 range, torpedo arming 752. You're gonna be like, once again, you're not gonna do shit against DDs and stuff with these. But clumsy, slower targets might get chunked hard. Now imagine Italian AA. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why Italian 4.6 km AA is so terrible, because Italian flak is 3.5 to 4.6, and most of the time the AA is still reloading when planes fly through it, especially fast planes. If there's a speed boosting plane going through it, you won't even shoot any flak because the crew is still reloading it. Like, it's really stupid, but I mean, wargaming. Hits points 1.3k. Size of attacking flight. Man, the health is... But then again, the whole concept of many of these strikes is to strike from outside of range. And you gotta remember, with the new aircraft changes, once you start using your machine guns on attack aircraft, like the second your machine guns activate, you become immune to AA. Like, you gain complete damage immunity. So, there is that as well. One strike retreat. Skip bombers, one bomb. Wait, really? What the fuck? Yeah. Let me see if I can find a picture of that. Here we go. There you go. There's their reworked mechanics. Once the machine guns open fire, you won't be able to adjust the flight of your attack aircraft. However, your attack aircraft also become immune to AA fire at that point. So, yeah. It's so retarded. It's wargaming! And people stop being surprised that wargaming is retarded. Like, Jesus. How long have you guys been playing this game? Right. Skip bombers, bombs in payload 1, bomb time HE, 8.7k alpha, 54mm pen. Holy shit, that's a lot of fire chance. And you drop 6 bombs. With 49% fire chance. Okay, oof. Can I please become immune when firing my guns or torps? No, sorry, comrade. Only applies to flying things. That's a lot. 6 bombs. I mean, once again, the spread will be a big decider here. What kind of spread are these bombs going to be having? If it's a narrow spread, that's a lot of fire chance, and that's an oof. Knock him up, tier 10, 67k health, plating 19, 4k MAA, 6k MAA, 10 flak. Holy 100% accuracy 10 flak that deals 1.9k. Jesus. That's a lot of flak. That's a lot of goddamn flak. Jesus. Whew. Those are some squishy boys, though. 1090 health at tier 10. That is some squishy goddamn planes. But, I mean, this entire design, though, in order to land attack aircraft that has that little health, you're gonna have to be able to dodge flak well. So this entire Soviet design so far goes against everything Wargaming wanted, because they were like, hey, we want to reduce the skill cap that comes with CVs. We want to reduce the skill cap. We don't want there to be such a big difference between a poor and a good player. But this entire Soviet design, you have to understand positioning, you have to get closer, you have to dodge flak, like, you have to actually be a competent player to succeed in this, which is complete opposite to something like an FDR, when you can literally shove your keyboard up your ass, fart, and do 200,000 damage. Like, this is a completely different design. This goes against everything that they've been preaching to us for so long. What the fuck? Like, everything about this, or the whole concept, like, this doesn't work with the current concept of AA at all, because of the reloading, because of the continuous, because of the single strikes. Like, everything about this is just weird. And good players are going to be hitting like absolute trucks. If they manage to dodge the strike, Nordit, thank you for 54. Good players that can actually dodge the flak and get in with this. I mean, we're saying 8 planes that have 4 rockets. 32 rockets that deal 4.8k alpha. Holy shit. And penetration is 40 millimeters and fire chance 27. These rockets have better HE fire chance than basically most cruiser HE shells. 152k alpha. $32k alpha. So, I mean, once again, the bad players are going to fly these things into a flak cloud, lose all of them, complain. The good players are going to dodge flak and potentially slap the shit out of ships. Especially because you got to remember, if you fly around islands, you can close the distance behind island cover. And then you just strike right behind the island and do the massive damage. Because once you start to strike and your machine guns start firing, remember, because of the change, these planes are going to be immune to AA. So good players will absolutely find ways to abuse this. Absolutely find ways to abuse this. But bad players are not going to do shit. So everything about this design so far is against everything Wargaming have been preaching to us. Torpedo bombers, 1.5k, cruising speed 124, faster than short earlier ones. 8 planes, 6.4k, 8. Slow torpedoes, range is good, torpedo arming almost 1 kilometer. So you're going to have to drop this from out. Once again, the spread is going to decide a lot here. The spread is going to decide a lot. Like, there's multiple issues though. For example, torpedo bombers. For some reason, when you go into a strike with torpedo bombers, your planes actually fly under the flak. Like, when you go into a strike with torpedo bombers, your planes fly underneath the flak. There's a lot of weird shit when it comes to how AA works. Like, a lot of the time, the AA is literally just fireworks. AA is just fireworks in this game most of the time. I also like how Wargaming upgraded guns from the design sheets 100mm to the 130mm. Or UK HE bombers that fly over the flak. Yeah, like, once again, a lot of the flak is just fireworks, so we'll see. Skip bombers, very low HP. Not that fast. I mean, still fucking fast compared to any surface ship, but 8 planes, 8 bombs dropped at once. 8.7k alpha, 54mm of pen. 54 exactly. Interesting. Chance to cause fire 49%. So 8 x 8.7 with big pen and a lot of fire. We're gonna see what kind of spread this strike has, because that's gonna once again be very deciding. Three skips. Oh yeah, skip count 3. And it explodes on the 4th, so you're gonna be able to drop this from really far away. Radaf, thank you for tier 250. Soviet carrier Chkalov? 51.7, plating 19. 6 km range. 5 flank. Did you know that Des Moines has 5 flank? But the range on the AA of the Des Moines is 5.8. So this thing has better, and I'm pretty sure it isn't 100% accuracy either. I think it's like 90, 95. I don't know, I gotta check, but it's always interesting to see the way AA power creep moves. DM has 6. No, I think DM had 5. Let's double check. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right and maybe I'm wrong. Nope, I'm right. And it's 90%. 5 flak and 90%. And 5.8 cam range. No. Usually when it comes to World of Warships things, I tend to be pretty accurate. AA cruiser? Yeah. But so it's always good to see like how tier 8s have better AA than the so-called tier 10 AA cruiser that was originally marketed as an AA cruiser back when they released it. It's always interesting. Maximum speed 32.3, turning circle 1040. Rudder shift quite nice, honestly. Surface 13.6. Torpedo bombers 6 torps, 5.4k alpha, 41 knots. Faster than the normal ones then. Torpedo arming distance quite far though. So once again, you're going to struggle to land this on anything agile because you have to drop them from so far away. That doesn't mean, of course, that you can't punish. The carriers have the ability to strike people that are crossfired. They can create crossfires anywhere, so you might be nosing in your cruiser and then this guy shows up and you're like, well, do I eat 5.4k x6 or do I give broadside to the enemy ships? And then you're like, well, fuck my life. Dive bombers 125, size of attacking flight 6, aircraft restoration 89. Oh, 8.7k bomb. These bombs are pretty nasty for tier 8. Jesus. 8.7k, 54 million, 49% fire chance at tier 8. Holy shit, that's gonna hurt. It's funny that DM is unplayable in clan battles because it has shit AA cruiser. Yeah. Skip bombers, hit points 13.1, cruising speed 125, 6 aircraft. Wait, these are dive bombers and skip bombers. So, whoa, and they both do 8.7 and 49%. Holy shit. So it's 6 and 6. Holy shit. Same bomb, yeah, except this one is skipped, the other is dropped on top. Yikes. Skip are probably the upgraded bombs? I have no idea. We'll see. Interesting. Our plane is comrade. Yeah. Like, so far, this entire Soviet CV design seems to be going against everything that Wargaming has been marketing to us as reasons behind the CV rework. But I mean, to be fair, we know the CV rework, all the marketing was bullshit. We know all the marketing was bullshit. Like they just sold us, they sold us horse shit. But that's not the first time. Like, it's not the first time. Never forget this tweet from July 20th, 2020. Aged like milk. Enjoyable gameplay that will be, and the purpose of the CV rework. Adequate complexity curve of aircraft carriers, which implies smooth skill growth. Enjoyable gameplay that will be attractive for most players. Give more space for resourcefulness of aircraft carrier and its targets. Create a balanced integrated class that will enrich the game without ruining it for others. Increase aircraft carriers' popularity and enhance AA defense ships. Enhance, by the way. Do you feel enhanced? Especially in your Atlanta or in your Des Moines? Do you feel enhanced? Like, Wargaming always, their marketing is always, like, the fact that people still believe shit that they say just fucking blows my mind. Like, I'll have people show up in my comments and shit to defend this company. Like, it's baffling. It's fucking baffling. Like, how many times do they have to lie to you before you start maybe waking up just a slight fucking bit? What other update? Deblog. Update 10.5. Clan battles restrictions. Details about welcoming ship restrictions in 13 clan. Then, after analysis of battles in current clan, it was decided to implement the following ship limits. Restriction in number. No more than 1 Petro, Goliath, Venezia, and Stalingrad. Banned ships Hakuryu and FDR. Interesting. Haku, no King of the Sea ships. It's kind of funny because Goliath is mostly used because it's so good at dealing with these things. Oh well. No Haku. Haku is goddamn like Haku is actually super nasty. Luckily, your average Haku player is just so potato, but Haku in a good player's hands is just filthy. Because it can deal with everything. Rockets on the ADs, AP bombers on anything. The torpedoes are basically impossible to dodge because the spread is so narrow and they're so fast and they hit so goddamn hard. Like, Haku in skilled hands is a goddamn nightmare. But luckily the average Haku player is garbage. Rockets not anymore on DDs. Yeah. After FDR and Haku got banned, CBs became more enjoyable instantly. They should consider implementing, like spreading that out more a bit, so banning CVs in general from the game. How about that one? I think that would really enhance the enjoyment of the game. What was it, the words they use? Enhance our gameplay experience and enrich our time spent on the game. Can Wargaming try that? I would support that. Delete CVs. I will feel so enriched and so enhanced. Oh my god.